Texas A&M is trying to prove that they can take down Alabama. They signed the #1 recruiting class in the nation, which made Nick Saban and Jimbo Fisher act like absolute 5-year-olds during the offseason and call each other cheaters and using NIL deals to get kids to go to their program. The question for Texas A&M is, can youth help you out this year? They have a lot of 5 stars for sure, but they still need time to develop. They start off the year with an easy 31-0 win over an FCS school. Another SEC West team that's trying to take down Alabama is Ole Miss. Ole Miss is a key part of their offense with Matt Corral going to the NFL draft. Lane Kiffin is trying to prove he can win without his star QB. He's still trying to beat his former boss Nick Saban. Ole Miss leads the game 28-3 going into the fourth quarter, before letting Troy get a garbage time touchdown to make it closer than it actually was. South Carolina has had a lot of changes coming into the season. Quarterback Spencer Rattler has transferred from Oklahoma after the fans actively booed him and chanted for him to get benched. He's trying to prove he can win in crucial games. Why not do that by playing the SEC where every game means more? Spencer's college teammate from Oklahoma, Austin Stogger, has also transferred to South Carolina, but this game isn't about them. South Carolina Gamecocks live mascot Sir Big Spur has died. May he fly up in heaven with my Chick-fil-A lunch I had last week. South Carolina had an online poll to name the new mascot. Cock Commander and Cluck Norris led the polls until they realized doing a poll on the internet was a bad idea and named the new mascot Sir Big Spur. South Carolina wins 35-14 against Georgia State in honor of the fallen legend. My condolences go to Big Spur and his family. I repeat, we are on code red. Vanderbilt has won 2 straight games. They won 63-10 at Hawaii and only let Elon, an FCS team, score 31 points on them. Vanderbilt won 42-31 to Elon. Get your screenshots out, boys. Vanderbilt is on top of the SEC East. They have one preseason vote to win the SEC. The 2022-2023 national championship starts here, boys. All hail the Doors! That other team in Tennessee is still trying to rebuild after Peyton Manning went to the NFL. May I remind Vols fans that he retired 6 years ago now. Tennessee might have actually stopped digging themselves in a hole. They went 7-6 last year and still have a good offense. People are expecting them to finish top 3 in the SEC East this year. In a weakened SEC East this year, except for Georgia. If Tennessee doesn't have a winning season, then you'll bet their fans will make the skies of Neyland Stadium will be full of thrown mustard bottles. Tennessee starts their make or break season with a 59-10 victory over Ball State. This gets them in the top 25. Kentucky is ranked in the top 25 in the preseason AP poll for the first time since 1978. There are 2 goals this season for Kentucky: beat Florida and finish second in the SEC East. They started off sloppy against Miami, Ohio, and threw a pick at the Miami Ohio's too. They scored a field goal right before the half ends. And it looks like we might have an upset on our hands. Until Kentucky immediately scored a kick return touchdown at the start of the second half. Kentucky completely takes over the second half and wins 37-13. Auburn is in some tough times. They went 6-7 with their new head coach, Bryan Harsin. Multiple players have transferred out of Alabama, including their star quarterback, Bo Nix. Many of those players have alleged that their head coach is either hard to work with or treated them like dogs. Another allegation is that Bryan Harsin has been cheating on his wife with a female assistant at Auburn, who is also his assistant at Boise State. Bryan Harsin and his wife also have children. Again, these are all allegations, but it's something to keep in mind during this season. Auburn easily wins 42-16 against FCS opponent Mercer, although they were favored to win by 30. Once Auburn plays against harder opponents in the SEC West, I wouldn't be surprised if Bryan Harsin's hot seat gets even hotter. Missouri is competing for one of the worst teams in the SEC this year. They started off slow, down 3-0 in the first quarter, but end up destroying Louisiana Tech 52-24. The defense, though, kept having deep throws scored on them. Mike Leach is trying to prove that he can win the SEC with Mississippi State. They started off the season completely dominating Memphis 35-3. Memphis gave off glimmers of hope by scoring 2 straight touchdowns in the third quarter, but Mississippi State shuts those dreams down and wins 49-23. Arkansas is trying to prove that they are a dark horse in the SEC West. Their opponent is a playoff team from last year, Cincinnati. Cincinnati's team is wounded. From their top talent going to NFL, a perfect opportunity to prove that they're a legit top 25 team. They have a huge pick in the middle of the first quarter to help their offense score a touchdown. They score a jump pass, take the lead 14-0 at the half. With 6 minutes left in the third quarter, inside their own 10, the offense makes a huge mistake and fumbles the ball, and Cincinnati gets it. But they can only muster a field goal. Cincinnati almost gets a safety in the fourth, but they're short of it. Arkansas forces a fumble at the 50 and leads to J.K. Jefferson touchdown touchdown with 9 minutes left. Yet again, the game isn't over yet. Arkansas keeps getting ahead, but they can't keep the Bearcats out of the game. Cincinnati scores another touchdown to keep it within 7, but Arkansas runs out of time and starts the year off with a W. Georgia is coming off a national title for the first time in 41 years. They set an NFL draft record with 15 players being drafted. With all this talent leaving on defense, people are wondering if Georgia can reload. Their opponent is a familiar face. The defensive coordinator that helped them win their national title, Dan Lanning, is now the head coach at Oregon. And Georgia's son, Bo Nix, has transferred from Auburn to Oregon. So far, he's 0-3 against Georgia and is trying to prove his doubters wrong. And Georgia kills Oregon in about 0.25 seconds. Georgia destroys Oregon 49-3. Oregon was outplayed in every facet of the game. This is supposed to be the number 11 team in the nation. I wonder why the Pac-12 is currently burning to the ground. The other SEC team reloading is Alabama. Coming off of a rebuild year for Alabama standards, they went 10-2 last year and lost the national title to Georgia. Bryce Young is trying to defend his Heisman and become the second player to win 2 Heismans. The unfortunate souls who have to face a pissed off Alabama team are Utah State. Bryce Young made a strong start this season with a 5 touchdown and a 55-0 win. This is a huge game for both Utah and Florida. Utah is a serious playoff contender and going to this humid southern team's home, and winning will be huge. On the other side, you have a rebuilding Florida team. It's the debut of head coach Billy Napier and emerging sophomore redshirt quarterback Anthony Richardson. Florida fans are wondering if he is the prophesied resurrection of Tim Tebow and bring another Heisman to Gainesville, Florida. Florida drives deep into Utah territory on the first drive before fumbling away the ball. They rebound though, and Anthony Richardson runs for a 45-yard touchdown and leads the game into the half by 1 point. In the fourth quarter, Florida gets a touchdown and a lead by 1. And now they're trying to go for 2 to get up by 3 points.
Now it's Naquan Wright in the game. Anderson goes in motion. What a play by Richardson. A ball fake to keep it alive. And he's got a finding his receiver for a 2-point conversion.
Late in the fourth, down by 4 points, Florida nearly fumbles the game away, but they're able to recover the football. Florida scores a touchdown to go up by 3, but they make a crucial mistake. They leave a minute and 25 seconds for Utah to work with. Utah methodically works down the field. Utah will barely escape and keep their playoff hopes alive. Anthony Richardson is the second coming of Tim Tebow, and Billy Napier will win 15 national titles with Florida. All hail the saviors of Florida football. LSU has had one of the quickest championship blow-ups in history. In 2019, they completely dominated every game onto the national title led by Heisman quarterback Joe Burrow. Many consider this squad one of the greatest teams in college football history until they went 5-5 in 2020 and 6-7 in 2021. They fired their head coach Ed Orgeron after only 2 seasons since winning a national title with him. People in Louisiana don't have a lot of patience. And that's what new head coach Brian Kelly has to learn. He was Notre Dame's head coach for over a decade and brought them to multiple playoff appearances and a national title appearance. He has the most wins out of any Notre Dame head coach, with 113 while he was with the Irish, until LSU threw $9 million a year at him, and he came to Baton Rouge on his first day at LSU campus. The coach who was born and raised in Massachusetts and has been coaching in the Midwest since 2004 magically has a southern accent on his first day. On the first day, everyone realized that this guy was an unauthentic person and thought LSU fans were dumb enough to think that he was southern. He also did some cringy TikTok dances for recruiting that are somehow worse than my YouTube videos. Crazy, right? For Brian Kelly's first ever game, he has to face FSU in New Orleans. The game starts off slow with a field goal for LSU, then a touchdown for FSU, and then FSU blocking one of LSU's field goals. It's 7-3 at halftime. FSU starts to pull away in the third and scores 10 points. On fourth down on the 1-yard line, LSU scores a touchdown to make it a 17-10 football game. At the end of the third quarter, FSU scores a touchdown, and now LSU has 9 minutes to try to score 14 points and send this game to overtime. They waste a shit ton of clock and score a touchdown with 4 minutes left. The defense forces a 3-and-out, and now the offense can get a chance to. Brian Kelly will lose his first game because his punt returner fumbled the ball. It's a horrible way to lose.
Things that always fumble here down to goal line. Is there a chance LSU has come up? LSU says they have it. Wow. LSU does.
Now LSU has 80 seconds and 2 timeouts to try to send this to overtime. This is a chance that Brian Kelly needs to prove that he's not a horrible hire. LSU is wasting too much time now, and now their quarterback gets sacked around the 50. Now LSU has 25 seconds, 55 yards, and no timeouts to tie this game. Things are not looking good for LSU.
About their tackle with the pass rush. Here we go. Clock ticking down. Daniels taking time. Remember, no timeouts. Here is the freshman inside the 5.
They started this drive on the 1, and now they've brought it all the way to FSU's 1-yard line. This is the game.
Daniels to the end zone. Got it! Jermaine Jenkins. My, oh my, What a night in New Orleans!
Brian Kelly, you absolute god. He somehow led LSU 99 yards to get a touchdown and send this game to overtime. Congratulations, LSU. You are this week's lolcow of the week. Not only did you somehow score a 99-yard touchdown drive, but you're the only SEC team to lose this week. Your prize is the special teams that fumbles the football away and gets blocked twice in one game. Besides the major out-of-conference games, it's a typical boring first week for the SEC. Playing a bunch of teams that are way worse than them to get an easy win, which is why most of these are like 3 sentences long.